Hello, my name is Mike Pfaff, and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. And while we've talked about many things, I thought today we would talk about communication and start as a model of communication using the computer. And the computer is said to model how the mind-brain works. So I thought we'd just kind of go through that a little bit and look at the basic components. So I'm going to write them on the board and we'll see if they make sense. Now, the main part of the computer is you're going to have to imagine because I don't draw that well. So make believe this is a CPU, Central Processing Unit. All computers got it, whether it's a laptop or a desktop. And coming out of the computer is some signal. You get a signal out to do something. Now you can open your garage door, you can turn on your stove, you can send information to a printer, you can do all kinds of stuff. Turn on televisions, all kinds of stuff. So you have the CPU, and then you have an output, some kind of an output. Now, how do you get the output that you want? Well, now we have hardware. This is the hardware. And you need software. You need a program. So now I'm going to represent the program as let's use a memory stick. Maybe I can draw that easier. Well, it might not look like one, but make believe this is a memory stick that has a program on it, and you're going to put the program into the CPU, and you're going to diddle it because you got to send the signal, and then from the information from the software, the signal from the software, the hardware goes through its process of crunching the numbers or crunching the information, and out will come some kind of an output. Whether you print a piece of paper or send a text or something like that. So this is the model that we're going to use. Software, hardware, output. So now we're going to use this model to look at communication that we have, like I'm having with you right now. However you do it. With your kids, with your loved one, with your teacher, with your students, with your co-workers, whatever you're going to communicate with. You want you to look at software, hardware, and output. Because now we're going to change these things right here. Now let's leave those there. And add to them, what's your CPU in you? Well, most people will say, it is your brain. So we have, the brain kind of looks like that. Now, a lot of people don't think that the brain is just a processor of information. They think it's got a lot of other stuff that it does. I'm not going to be concerned about that right now. All I'm going to recognize is that it processes information. As a matter of fact, the brain is an object. The neurons that are in the brain are objects. And while they do fantastic things, they are just objects. Now, you need something out here, software. What kind of software you got? What kind of software do you have, information that you have that you can signal your CPU and have it process information? Well, I'm going to suggest that it is memories, which is your past experience. You use your past experience to know what kind of signals you need to send to the CPU, to the central processor. And the central processor will do exactly what it's supposed to do, process the information. Now, a lot of people think that the brain, well, they don't like to think about it as just a piece of hardware. They like to think about it as being magnificent, which it is, but in the long run, it just processes information. So you give it a certain signal, you give this part a certain signal, and you're going to get a certain output response. Well, think about that for a moment. Let's see if we can come up with a model. Now I have, because I've been thinking about it. And what I come out with, because I deal with a lot of people, see, I'm a psychologist too, and I deal with a lot of people who, let's say, have depression. When you got depression, what do? Well, you go see a doctor or a psychiatrist. And they look at you and they say, aha, here's a prescription. This prescription will change how you output information. So they give them antidepressant. And they go take the antidepressant within a few days, because you got to take some time to get a therapeutic level in your body. You start feeling, if the medication is right, you start feeling somewhat lighter, somewhat better. So you give the CPU, in this case medication, through you intake medication, goes into your bloodstream, from your bloodstream, goes all over your body, but what we're concerned about is going to the brain. And then you get a lighter feeling from the interaction of the medication with the brain, providing it's the right medication. So if you get the right medication and you take it, you get a signal. I'm going to put that down. Signal. Signal is important to understand. So in the long run, memories give you a signal also. So you get a signal to your brain and you get a certain output. You feel better, you feel like doing things, you're not so lethargic, or whatever it is. So we have a medication, which is a signal. The signal goes to the brain processes it and gets a predictable, now here's the thing, it's a predictable output. So this is predictable. You give it a certain signal, it processes it in a predictable way, and you get a predictable output. But any kind of medication works that way. You get changes in here, and you get a predictable output. So, known signal in, processes it predictably, and you get a predictable output. Very scientific. So now Now, what I want to point out is that it is scientific. The input signal, the brain processes it as it should, predictably, and you get a predictable output. Now, if you took a medication and the brain processed it and you felt better, improved, you'd say, wow, that's very nice, that's very predictable. If you take the same medication the next day and the brain processes it and you feel paranoid, you'd say, wait a minute, the brain isn't processing the signal predictably. It's not predictable. If the next day you processed it, the same chemistry, same prescription, and now you feel anxious, you'd say, wait a minute, this isn't predictable. Now, why am I saying this? I want you to understand, I want you to kind of get the idea that the brain is predictable. It's hardware. It does what it's supposed to do based upon the input signal. It's not doing a lot of stuff all by itself. It's predictable. Now, you got a lot of chemistry going on in there, and you got a lot of things going on, but the output, signal in, predictable signal output. If you don't, we wouldn't be using chemistry that much. But since pharmaceuticals is one of the biggest money makers in the country, must be pretty good. So I want you to look at the brain as a predictable piece of hardware. That's all. So now, this is what we got. We got memories from the past. And when you have memories from the past, that determines what kind of signal your current situation, your current environment is going to react to. So your past memories, your past experiences are based upon the current environment is going to tell you what signal is going to be sent to the hardware, the brain, to give you an output. So what's this got to do with communication? Well, for a lot of people, they look at, now I'm going to draw very crude here, so you have to use your imagination. Okay? So you got, now let's see if I can do a better job. Now this you can tell that this guy is doing the best he can here at the board to try to make this look like a person. This is the hand down here. This is the hand. So we got a person. Now, when you communicate, you don't see none of this stuff. You see this. So when you communicate, what's communicating? Well, you might say, well, I see the body. I see how it looks. I see how it's dressed. I see how it moves. And therefore, I understand what this person is saying because of the way the body is. I read body language. But what makes the body communicate the way it does. So now I did a nice job of drawing this, but what I'm going to do is take the back side off. I'm going to take the back side off. Okay. I still want him to look like a person, so I put an eyeball and there. Oh, he kind of looks like a person. Why does he react the way he does? How come you can predictably read what this body does? Well, because it operates predictably. Why does it operate predictably? Because of how it gets signaled. Now, you probably know look at my face, see? I'm going to wink. Both sides. I used to be able to do it. Okay. Every nuance of the body, every facial expression, every movement of your nose, every sad, frowning, terrible look, and every happy look doesn't come from the body. The body is a direct reflection of the signals from the subconscious mind where your memories are stored. Every nuance in the body comes from the subconscious mind as a signal to the CPU. Software, hardware, output. So what communicates? What is the, another thing, the body has no direct information from the environment. The only way the body knows on the inside what's going on is because of this process. The body itself doesn't get any information directly from the outside environment. Basically, the body is dumb and blind, except for this process here, the hardware, and the software over here. I better put that just so you remember. Subconscious mind. All communication comes from the subconscious mind. So if you want to make changes in how you communicate or what you communicate, all starts back here. All starts back here, where you begin to form through the software, through your programming, which is your experiences from the past, how you're going to respond out here in the environment. So basically, what have I said? The body itself does not respond to the outside environment. So when you think the body is communicating to you, a friend, a lover, another driver on the road that gives you a friendly invitation to join him with his second finger, all comes from back here. Has nothing to do with the body. A strange thing. And then, when the body does something wrong, why does it do something wrong? Because of the software. But when the body does something wrong, we throw the body in jail. Do we fix the program? Nah, we just let him sit in jail. He'll be okay. He'll get by. Now, what communicates? Only minds. Only minds communicate. It's a fallacy to think that the body communicates. Now, what happens when you think the body is doing the communication? Your ego will convince you you're your body. Cuts this out altogether. It convinces you you're your body. And it's great for business because we got to keep the body happy. We don't understand that it's the programming that keeps the body happy. And if you're depressed, it's not changing the body that's the problem. It's changing what signals you're sending through the hardware to get the output that you have now. So don't look to change the outside environment. The outside environment is an effect of the inside. The outside environment is a reflection of what you're doing inside. So many people, they say, oh, I'm having all kinds of problems. What I need to do is go on a diet. I need to make some more money. I need to... They're looking at all the things they need to do out here. What they got to do is heal what's going on in here. Heal this part of them, and this part will automatically change. So that's an interesting idea, an interesting discussion. And so next time we get together, maybe we'll expand on this. Or maybe we'll do something else. So be good to yourself. Have fun. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time we get together.